Yo, so guys, it is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video, and there's some brand new F1 2017 gameplay showcasing the career mode. Now, first of all, a massive thank you to Aarav and also Christina from Codemasters for hooking me up with a code for early access of the game. I'm very, very thankful for it, and it's allowed me this opportunity to try and show you guys some early gameplay of F1 2017. Now, in this video, we're going to focus on the career mode breakdown and a few little details that we can see in here. So, first of all, we're going to create a new save game, and as you just saw a brief second ago, we've got 10 save slots this year in the career mode, which is absolutely fantastic because we can run multiple career modes alongside each other. Now, in regards to, obviously, the career mode set up similar to last year, but with a few more faces, especially the brand new female avatars, which are in the game this year. So, it always helps to try, get that incentive going to try and get all kinds of people playing the game. And this is definitely a really good, just a nice add-on for Codemasters there. And you can actually drive as a woman. So you could actually drive as taking a page out of Arav's book, you could actually drive as Sophia Flourish, for example, if you really wanted to. So really nice touch there from Codemasters, and something that you don't really see that often. You could maybe bring Danica Patrick to the world of F1 if you really wanted to, who knows. But as you can see now, looking also at their new helmet designs, I've already pre-created all my stuff, so I've got my helmet made, but we've got a few new helmets, also including the brand new helmets that were selected by the people who won the contest, the Codemasters contest, to basically have their helmets added into the game. So those helmets, I believe there's 6 of them or 7 of them, those helmets can't be modified. So as you see them in the game, that is the way they are. So other than that, it's still brilliant. Some of the helmets are actually really, really good, and I really, really like them. I've only gone for a custom one because I have a bit of a color OCD with things that I like, with the teams I like. But as you can see right now, just looking on screen right now, we're looking at the team selection, and we're going to focus on Force India here for a second. As you can see, right in the middle of the pack there, and the team objective in the bottom left. Interesting, depending on which team you're at, they're going to ask you for different objectives and what they want to, what they demand from you as one of their drivers. Because, as you can see, we're just going to focus on Force India, like I said, and they want a solid midfield running, basically. But then if we move to Ferrari, which is what I'm going to focus on this episode, who the team I'm going to be driving as, they're the second best team. So therefore, in the bottom left, you're expected to win the championship. So, very interesting sort of different gauge on the, team demands, and obviously, who knows, they might be more strict this year than compared to 2016. You never know, so you're always going to be wanting to improve. But as you can see, I'm just setting up some settings now. Ultimate AI for the first race of the season in the Ferrari, but we're now going to jump to a cutscene with the brand new PR agent, Emma Jenkins.
Yes, and I respect that, but my client has a championship to contest. So if you want our participation, I'm afraid the concessions are mandatory. Yes, that's fine. Get back to me when you can. Goodbye. No one ever just signs the contract. Anyway, thanks for coming by on such short notice. I just needed to cover a couple of quick things with you before you race. Firstly, as requested, there's a copy of your contract. It's a rolling deal. However, the team reserves right of termination if you fail to meet performance standards. You're second driver for now, but work hard, hit your targets, and I'll be able to sweeten the deal. I'm also looking to get you into some invitational events throughout the season. The experience and exposure from these will be great for your image. Plus, you'll get to drive some nice historic cars. Now then, go get ready for the next session, and good luck.
So there we have it, Emma in the brand new motorhome, and she's looking fun as always, but she's got a big upgrade in terms of her job and also a new department. But as you can see, just focusing now on the small paddock scene, we've got a brand new contract, obviously, as a new driver for Ferrari in the number 2 driver position. But we're going to look at the laptop now, a bit of a facelift on the laptop and a very interesting few things on there. So as you can see on screen right now, we've got a brand new reworked UI, looks much more fresh, and much more detailed. And also, the curious things now, which you will see in a moment, in regards to the car now, this is the brand new vehicle management tab. So as you can see here, you can select your engine components for the weekend. If you look at the tabs on the top there, you've got the engine and you've got the gearbox. So also you've got your tyre selection. But in terms of the engine and gearbox here, you can see that you've got all the components of the engine, the MGUK, the MGUH, the ICE, the turbocharger, etc. You've got all the parts here, the 4 mandatory ones that you can use, and then obviously the plus sign on the right hand side. So if you use any extra, those will be parts that you can use, but there'll be added penalties for that, so you can get grid penalties and just penalties down the line. So very nice to actually see this in person now, and as you can see, they're all at 0% wear because I'm yet to actually use them. But looking at the gearbox now, you can see exact same thing. We've got 4 gearboxes, and it tells you exactly how many races you've got to get out of each one. So, you've got to get a certain minimum of races on the gearbox, and that way you can then hopefully transition to a new gearbox and not incur a grid penalty. So you're going to have to get the minimum amount of races out the gearbox possible. And who knows, you might suffer gearbox failures or engine failures. And that'd be very interesting to see. Also, just a quick brief note on the tyre selection, as you can see here, in a different location compared to 2016, but you can still change it where it was in last year's game. And finally, as you can see on the final tab here, for some of the new guys to the game, we've got a few new tutorials on the right hand side, especially for the R&D tree and the engine parts, which may be very complex for new people for the F1 game. But we're now going to jump into Friday practice for the first time this season.
To Melbourne, where the practice session is about to start for this weekend's Australian Grand Prix. The pre-race talking is over. Now it's time for the drivers to show their worth. I'm here with Anthony Davidson once again. Nice to see you, Ant, and I wanted to ask you about how you go about improving the car over the course of a practice session. How much would you say is already known from the pre-race simulations, and how much do you have to do, how much do you have to work on with a real car on a real circuit?
Well, that's a good question, Crofty, and I suppose the simple answer is that there's no such thing as too much information. As you say, the bigger teams have very complex simulations, vast numbers of clever people crunching the numbers back at base, but what they can't tell you is stuff like how the track condition's going to be, or what the temperature's going to be doing over the course of the day, and how all of that's going to be interacting with the tyre. There are so many millions of tiny variables involved in getting these cars around a racetrack quickly, but the computer can't tailor the car to a driver's specific balance requirements. At some point, you still need to put a human being in there and have them feel it through the seat of their pants. And that's why we end up with different drivers having different setups. So what I'm trying to say is, Crofty, nothing beats on-track testing.
Morning, Jeff here. I'm looking forward to working with you as your race engineer. Hope you've had a good night's sleep, because we've got a lot of work to do today to prep for the season ahead. We're ready to fire up the car, so why not head out and get a few laps under your belt?
So there we have it, brand new Jeff giving a bit of a facelift in the career mode and giving us the welcome to the team. And as you can see on screen right now, we've got the brand new R&D programs. So we've got the same three from last year, but we've got two new ones, which are the fuel saving and the race strategy. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to be doing the fuel saving one, which will be very interesting because I'm not sure how it's going to go. Admittedly, it took me more than one attempt. The one you'll see in the video is just a clean attempt, but I actually had to do this a couple of times. And fair play, it was a real challenge actually to really hit the target that was required. So fair play to Codemasters there, and the fuel challenge was definitely one that was very, very interesting. But overall, I'm very impressed with the new practice programs, and they definitely caught my eye, and I think I'll be definitely doing them quite keenly and keeping a keen eye on them. But the fuel saving one is the one we're going to focus on here today, along with, obviously, we've got the other ones which you can do in the normal career mode in your spare time, but I'm just going to show off one of the new ones here today, which is the fuel saving. So as you can see, we're currently just getting acclimatized to Australia. A little bit of a lock up on the front left there already, just not used to the car. And in this year's game, if you lock up, you are going to go straight on, so you've got to be very careful with your lock ups if you use no assist. But as you can see, coming out the final corner now, we're going to get the brand new display overlay on top of the screen right now, showcasing the fuel saving gauge. And right now we're currently just about in the green. It took me, like I said, it took me a couple of attempts, and in my first attempt I actually got all 3 laps in the red. Like, I couldn't do a single one. I couldn't actually get it anywhere near the purple, and my lap time was way down. But on this one, after a few attempts, I actually started getting on top of it a little bit, and it was very, very interesting to see how it works. You got a really short shift nice and early, and really perfect the whole art of the lift and coast. You think you can lift and coast, but until you do this practice program, this really does put into perspective into what sort of challenge it actually is. And I'm really, really impressed with it. As you can see, we're coming towards the end of the lap. I'm just about on the purple, only just, and I'm only just within the target lap time. So this is what I'm saying. I've cut it really, really close, but out the front of the corner, we have just done it, only just in the purple. So a really, really fine margin there. But we're now going to move into another brand new paddock cutscene, and we're going to meet up with the R&D engineer.
You got my message. Perfect. Welcome to Home Away from Home. We get more real-time data from the factory now than ever before, and it all comes through here. So I have to spend more time checking over the reports and less time hunting you down in the hospitality suite. To that end... Sorry, just a sec. Yeah, Chris, is this important? I'm in the middle of something. Okay. Right. Well, that makes no sense. Have Sarah reset the simulation and run it again. Okay. Sorry about that. As I was saying, we've set up a desk for you at the front here. You can get onto the network from your laptop, so make sure to check the R&D screen regularly. And let us know how you want to use the data that we've collected over the weekend and through the practice programs. Also, bear in mind that the news from the factory won't always be good. Sometimes tests fail, like you've seen just now. And when that happens, we have to divert additional resources to fix it. C'est la vie, I'm afraid.
So, as you can see there, a bit of a facelift and just new features once again. I'm really excited, and it's just exciting to see in the career mode we've got these brand new features. And in here we're going to more specifically delve into the R&D tree and the research and development path of the career mode. So obviously we saw before in the normal laptop we can control our engine parts and gearbox parts. However, this is where the R&D takes part and all the research and development takes place. As you can see here, the brand new overlay and the brand new menu screen with all the different parts and settings that we can modify on the R&D tree. Very interesting to see here actually in person, because you haven't really seen much of this, especially in high resolution. So as you can see now, we're going to delve into the R&D tree here, the brand new R&D tree, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It's going to be very interesting to see how all of you guys actually incorporate this into your own career mode. But here we've got obviously different parts of the car. We've got the aero, we've got the chassis, we've got the drivability, and just different parts of the car that are making it really interesting. And you can take various different paths on the R&D. As you can see here, I'm just sort of zooming in into each one and just showing you guys a little bit of what each one has to feature. But really interesting. Some are focused on the engine, some focus on the durability, some focus on the aero, some on the chassis, so front wings, rear wings, car weight, all these little things which are really interesting. So as you can see here, we're currently looking at the powertrain department, which is obviously the engine, and we're going to actually spend some of our resource points. We got given 3,000 resource points, so we're going to get an engine upgrade. And we're going to purchase the first step of the engine, and then hopefully we can move on to a different part of the tree later on down the line, especially in my normal career mode. This is just merely a showcase video, but as you can see, we purchased the first one. You could have also purchased one of them little ones on the side to maybe have a little bit of a different sort of way of working the powertrain. So basically, the little ones will actually improve the department of those guys who actually work on the engine to actually improve how efficiently they get the parts out. But as you can see now, we're doing also an upgrade in the aerodynamic department, upgrading the rear wing, and then also finally in the durability here, just general wear of the car. We're going to try and improve it so the car doesn't wear down as much, and we can get more life out of the 4 parts that the FIA basically suggests. So we can get more life out of the 4 engine parts, the MGUK, MGUH, ICE, and all that good stuff. And once again, just like last year, same old cutscene with the new rival, Emma Jenkins, letting us know Sebastian Vettel is going to be the rival here early on in the season, which is very good to see.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk, and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
Right, so moving into qualifying, one-shot qualifying I decided to do because it's something that I've been doing a lot recently on F1 2016, is what I'm used to. So, as you can see, it's my first proper lap at full speed on this game. I have used the beta before, and I've driven cars, but I've driven the Force India. I've getting used to my career mode car, not the Ferrari. So the Ferrari does have a little bit more pace, I can say. It's a little bit quicker than the Force India, so I definitely left a bit of time on the table here. But as you can see, kind of doing a lap, and we're currently behind Lewis Hamilton. But so far, the car is absolutely hooked around here. These cars are absolutely incredible to drive. Once you guys get your hands on this, guys, you'll realise, I can't describe it to you, these cars, once you get a lap hooked up and you're genuinely on the limit, because here I wasn't on the limit, but when you find that limit with these cars, it's so quick and it's so satisfying to get a lap hooked up here. But as you can see, what I mean by leaving time on the table, I'm miles behind from Lewis Hamilton. I'm comfortably holding P4 because the Ferrari and Mercedes are the 2 fastest cars. But here, through the chicane, I mean, the speed we carry through here is absolutely fantastic, and you can really gain a lot of time in there. You could, I don't want to say, I haven't really tried it because I'm not really confident enough, and I'm a bit scared. But you maybe could try go flat out. I don't know what would happen, but it is bloody quick through the chicane. So overall, really impressive stuff, and I do enjoy driving these beautiful 2017 cars. Even a car like a McLaren drives absolutely fantastically quick with the new downforce regulations. But as you can see, we're coming towards the end of our qualifying lap here, and it's going to be good enough for P4 on the grid, so nothing spectacular there. And it's going to be P4 for the Australian Grand Prix in the first qualifying session of the season, which will swiftly move us on to the race, where I hope we can find a little bit more pace, and we'll have enough laps to try and get a hold of the car. So as you can see, Vettel P2 there, and it's Mercedes by Ferrari order there in the top 4, both Red Bulls in 5th and 6th. But we're now going to jump into the race on Sunday for the Australian Grand Prix.
Today's race, of course, not simply the start of a new season, but the start of a new kind of Formula One. Anthony Davidson, great to have you with us once again. This is a big moment for the sport. Big changes to the technical regulations. The potential, perhaps, to give us the biggest shake-up since 2014. Very different cars visually and, fingers crossed, much faster as well.
Good thing then that combined these teams put in just a shade over 13,000 kilometres on the clock during testing. The cornering speed of these new machines is absolutely unbelievable. How many lap records are still held by Michael Schumacher from 2004? Well, on the right day, on the right tyres, we might just be threatening them this year. Wider tyres, wider cars, more downforce. I have to say they look great, and the qualifying spectacle is undebatable. Now the big question remains, can they follow? Can they race? Or have these new rules gone too far?
Right, so here we go then, it's race day at Australia. I'm going to gear up to the 5 red lights, get the clutch sorted out, and here we go, 5 red lights for the first race of the season, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go here. Pretty good start off the line, nice clean traction. Pretty much again the same start as Vettel. Bottas off to an absolute screamer. Also Ricciardo there off to an absolute flyer on the start here at Australia. Obviously the home fans cheering him on, but wow, really good to see that they are pretty good on the starts here as we now make our way down into turn number 3. And so far, I've got to say, first impressions, and something I've re-noticed in this race, and I'll showcase it later on. The slipstream is non-existent in this game. Like this is much better, because now it's not like in last year, like, especially like Monza in 2016, where you would get raped by slipstream cars. I mean, look at this. I'm right on the toe of Ricciardo in a Ferrari, and I'm barely gaining on him in a straight line, and I'm in standard mix. So in 2016, that would have been an easy dive up the inside into turn 3 with the slipstream there, but I really genuinely struggled to get past him there. And it's not like I'm running a really high downfall setup here. I'm actually running, pretty default setup there with a little bit more wings. But either way, we're going to get the inside of Ricciardo here instead. And this is the sort of thing you got to do. You got to really, work hard to make the move work. Similar to like Vettel did at China around the outside of Bottas, I think it was, at turn 5. You got to really grind out the overtakes and really work hard for them. But as you can see on lap 4 now, we're behind our teammate Vettel, who we've actually caught up, but then no overtaking, yellow flag on the top left, and Vettel is all over the place, and I think Vettel is out of the race here. It's not an engine blowout, so he must have some sort of car failure early on in the first race of the season, because there was no smoke. So already early indication that it could possibly be maybe a gearbox failure or a missing gear or something, or maybe something wrong with one of the engine components. But either way, I did watch it back on the replay, and I couldn't hear or see anything, so I'm guessing it might have been an engine issue, or a part might have failed. But either way, Vettel out the race, and I'm just showing you guys in the bottom right some of the menus now. As you can see, the tyre wear really good around here. You can really push on the tyres and lean on them quite a lot. And also look at that, the engine wear already kicking in after 6 laps in this race, which is quite interesting to see, and we will come back to that graph later on in the race once we've done a few more laps on this car. But as you can see, coming to the pit lane now, you've got to manually engage the pit limiter if you're running no assist now, which is very interesting. And also we're going to hold Hamilton in his box there. And once you roll in to your pit box, as you can see here, you've got to hold the clutch in just like the start procedure, let go of the clutch and try and have a good clean getaway there. And I probably released the clutch a little bit too early there, but now once we get towards the end of the pit lane, we're going to have to release the pit limiter, so you can't actually release it before the line, so there's no way you're going to get a penalty. I've tested it, so basically it's a question of how close to the line can you release it to try and lose as least time as possible. But as you can see, we're going to rejoin just behind Stoffel Van Dorn, and who knows, if I just perfected the art of the pit lane on manual, the whole thing, I might have just come out ahead of him here. But just a couple of corners later on the fresh compound tyres, Van Dorn's going to give us a little squeeze here, lock up the left front. I run in a bit deep, but luckily I just about make the move there. Really worked hard to get that move on Van Dorn there, but I made it work, and we've overtaken him there. Now as you can see on lap number 8 now, it's the start lap 8, Bottas stayed out for one more lap, whereas Hamilton came in with me, and Bottas has actually made the overcut on Lewis Hamilton. So once again, it goes to show really good realism that the AI can actually overcut you now on strategy, which is absolutely fantastic. And these guys, look at them, both going side by side here. A brilliant little ding-dong battle between the two Mercedes cars, and that's going to allow me to catch them up. But look at this, I've got the run on Bottas here, but the second I pull out the slipstream, I just haven't got the momentum anymore. And I've got to say, the Ricciardo was hard enough, but the Mercedes cars, look at this, right? I've got DRS, I know Bottas has got DRS as well, but Bottas is actually pulling away from me. And I'm in rich mix, I can tell you, I'm in rich mix at this point. I'm not gaining anything in the slipstream, so it is really, really tough to get past AI cars in slipstream this year. So you've got to be maybe considering running a bit more of a lower downforce setup to have a bit more straight line slip. Because look at this, once again, on lap number 13 now, we're in the DRS of Bottas. He's a bit further back from Hamilton, and I'm going to try and go for the lunge on the brakes, but Bottas is just too far ahead. I can't quite get it, and fair play to him. I mean, if that's what the AI are going to be like, it's going to be a real big challenge to get past this year. But just a couple of corners later, just like with Ricciardo, I surprised myself actually, but there you go, up the inside, I just sort of force my way through, and I make the move on Bottas there, and it just goes to show you've got to really work hard there, and make the moves in the least unexpected, although sorry, the most unexpected places. But that was a really good race, and even though it's only 25%, I'll do obviously 50 for career mode. It's just a showcase video, but a really, really interesting one, and I really, really enjoyed that. It was really, really good to see, and overall that was absolutely fantastic, and the battling was great. Even though there wasn't much of it, it was just really tough mentally to really try and battle these guys when you've got no speed in a straight line. I say no speed, but basically you're equal on speed, so getting past these guys was so tough, and it was so rewarding when you actually made the pass. And as you see, Lewis wins the first race in Australia, and I come home in P2 with Bottas in P3. So luckily I managed to split the Mercedes, even though Vettel retired. And I can say, even if you're in a Ferrari, I mean, I'm running Ultimate here. I'm running on 101, which is the first Ultimate level on the difficulty side. The AI still got up to 110, so you can make this really hard for yourself. And I was genuinely trying hard around here to try and beat them. And I won't say I'm a slow driver or a quick driver, but I'm fairly quick. So that was a real enjoyable experience and a real good challenge there. And as you can see, the brand new podium animations here to cap it off here with Hamilton winning and me second, Bottas in third. Look at this brand new podium animations, absolutely fantastic to see, and a nice bit of realism there from Codemasters to really give it a bit of a facelift and overall just make it look much better. So overall, first impressions of the game, guys, I'm really excited and I'm really impressed. Let me know in the comments down below, guys, what you thought of this video and what you think of F1 2017 so far. There'll be a bit more content from me, especially starting from Monday. My career mode will begin, so I do urge you to go look out for that one and get subscribed for more F1 2017 content. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. So thanks a lot, guys, and goodbye from me.